Hello and welcome to another free code session. My name is Jason Bach and I'm going to do a little refactoring this and try to get rid of the to-do because there are going to be some things that change in terms of the code templates to match. I just don't like that I'm doing this regardless of whether you need this or not. So what I'm going to do is kind of change this up a little bit and have something here that's a private method that gives you three things back. All the things you need for a delegate, all the things you need for args, and all the things that you need for adornments. And then we'll look and say, if there is at least one in all three of these, then we'll do this. And so then this code will be, the code to find all those things first will be pulled out and given to these, and then they can just use what they want. I think the first one's going to be not the hardest, but kind of the most painful one. So what we want to say here is, let's first do this. Let's say private static. What do we want to give here? We have to get methods. We have to get explicit methods. But I don't necessarily want to get, like, I just want to say, it kind of feels weird. Yeah, I had to think for a second. I'm like, do I just, the goal is, private static goal is projection necessary, built off of a mock information. And then I just got a message from my wife telling me we're having some people come over to look at the windows in our house. We've had some of them replaced, but we have about half that haven't. And when COVID hit, we just basically stopped all the progression, and we need to get back to getting them all finished, which is not which is not cheap. They're not damaged. We just need to get better ones. So anyway, the thing I'm going through my head is, do I want to go through and just do a check to say, do you find any of these? Or, like with the properties, do we want to get like all the properties and put these in structures? In most cases, we won't need to, because the other thing I did was I tried to, and then I backed it out. Maybe that is the right way to do it. I tried to have something in there to say, let's write to another indented writer what we think we want to put this at. And then only if we have that do we actually do any of this. And I kind of think maybe I'll just redo that again. That's lost work, but that's okay. So we have var projected writer, which is going to be a new string, and this needs to be using string writer. Okay. Using var projected indent writer equals a new indented text writer based off the writer, and you can have a tab string, which we'll get to in a moment. Now, when we're calling this, we're saying we're at this point. Okay. So if we want to do any of this, we need to make sure that this is what I got screwed up on, because the indentation was off for the first one and not the second one. No, this is the mistake I made last time. Projected writer. Okay. Writer dot should be a write, and that should just take, there should be a string version in here, shouldn't there? Yes. Maybe instead of write line, we do write. Maybe that, okay. So we're at a certain position. And what we need to do is say, well, if we're going to write there, then we don't want to write this into this stream, because that's going to say, yes, we actually did something, And we don't want to just do this into this stream either unless we have to. So if I try to maybe sketch this, yeah, I actually have this here. The first one wasn't in the right spot. We want it to be here. And then we don't want the right line there. We want to right and then close those off. Okay. So the namespaces actually, they all ended up in the right spot. But what we want to do is say, when you're writing all the projected stuff, start where you think the indentation is there. And yeah, let's just play with this. So then we're going to take this up here, except you're going to be writing to that. Okay. And then var projected code is equal to projected writer to string. If not, string is null or white space projected code, then we'll actually do this. Okay. Here we'll say writer.write projected code. Now, there's a couple things I need to do here. One of them is have a private static string get tab string. Indented text writer. Okay. So what we can do is get rid of all these comments because this is what we're trying to do. This is a bit dangerous, but I made it as safe as possible. And what am I getting at? Right here I want to say var tab string field is equal to a type of indented text writer, get field where the name is tab string, and then binding flags of non-public and not plus binding flags of instance. Okay. If tab string field is not null and tab string field type is equal to type of string. What we're going to do is return a tab no matter what, but here we're going to say return tab string field, get value based on the writer, and then we can cast this to a string. Okay. So then up here we can say projected writer, mock projected types builder, get tab string on the writer. Okay. Not ideal, but it'll work. Now the one thing left here to do is also to say, what is the indentation got to be? Because up to this point, we are basically at this indentation and we want to be here. So what I thought we would want to do is say projected indent writer indent is equal to the writer's current indent plus 1. That's what I thought we would want to do, because then that will start it here, and then we don't need to indent here because this has already been indented the right amount, if that makes any sense. So because if you don't put that indentation there when you're doing the indented writer, it's not thinking you're over as far as enough as you need to be. So here's the thing, that this may be close. If I come back to code generation tests, and we have text writer in here, and we have a breakpoint here. Let's run this. I just didn't want this breaking a whole bunch of other things just by putting in a namespace for stuff that never gets generated in the first place. So it should be 0. Let's go to the output compilation, syntax trees. That second one, copy value. And that's the problem, this is so big. Yeah, see, this first, otherwise, then this one's like really bad. Why is that? Why is that? I am putting the right things in the right spots, right? Yeah, I'm writing to the projected indent writer, not the writer. We get a writer, projected indent writer gets that, and we just get the tab string from that. We then say how much we're adding. If we don't put that indent there, I believe that then all this would just basically be here. What I don't get is, why is this like off? I don't know. I don't get it. Do I have to have these in here? I think that would make it worse. Let's get rid of these. So many pauses. Okay. No, I don't want this up here. I don't want this here either. You think this would be easy. You think it would be easy, but it's not. Of course, you'd think it would also be easy just to get this to build, but whatever. Well, that's better. That's better. But we don't... Why do we end up over here? Like, you'd think that if you had to indent to get the stuff in, we're doing an arg for reader or span. Do we have too many here? No, this is not a pointer argument. This is a ref-like. So we have 1, 0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 0. That looks right. This is where a raw string literal would be much nicer, because we seal the class, we do plus, and then we say name of argument there, and then we go back minus. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 0. They even out. But why does that end up over there? It just looks blah. And then if we come into this, we shouldn't be doing any of this. So none of the, we never actually even touched the writer in this case. So, I don't know. Do you not do this? That would seem really weird. This is one of the things I think raw string literals will clear up a lot. At least I hope. No, that didn't help. Why? It's almost like you wrote the code, but for some reason this right line here is like, it's the details. I think I said that in a previous episode. It's the details that drive you nuts. Yeah. Why is this off? And then you notice this is not right. You'd think okay. And then you'd think writer indent would be like, I don't know. This makes no sense. So what does it think is the current indent 2? And this says 1. Well, that would at least push it to here, and then this should all come over here. So why would it suddenly be, it thinks it's 2 and it needs to be 1? Wait a minute. So right now we're at 1. That's right here. That's a 1. Okay. And then we say indent, which now makes it a 2. We write out the projected code. The writer still thinks it's 2. Is it because we don't do if we did a line feed carriage return at the end here, which is what I think we've done anyway, but that might be in the code block itself. We may say we're writing up to here, but we don't actually write the right line thing at the end. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. Yeah, we do. So then if we move it to 1, if I said right now, writer.inner writer toString, this unfortunately is going to drive me nuts because I've like lost my, there's no tab here. Like we say namespace projection for typed writer. And then right feature, and then we tab over, tab, 1, 2, 3. Why are we getting so many? And then we come to the end here. It's like 4, then 3, then 2. But we return after the closing one. We return, but there's no tabs in front of here. Why? Does this really need to be a right line? I have one other thought. Well, now it's not off, but we have an extra space here. So, and then everything else after that is just fine. So, yeah. And those extra 2, I don't know why are there, but they are. So now here's the thing. Do I live with this or not? What do I mean by live with this? Is I bet if I said this and then just said minus minus. The one thing I was thinking of is what I could do is split on new lines and give me a line every time. What I'm saying is I could do something like, because the args type builder is the only thing that does it's a rough like, and like I said here, we close it off and that's it. We don't do anything else. And so what I'm wondering is if I said private static IEnumerable of string get lines string code, and then what I do is I say for each var line in code split based off environment new line. What don't you like about that? New line is a string split. Oh, come on. A string array that delimits the substrings in this string. An empty array. Fine. String split options. The return value does not include array. No, we want that. Now we say yield return line. There. And now in here we could say for each var line in mock projected types builder get lines Jesus of this projected code. We say writer.writeLine of that line. Not pretty, but it'll get the job done. And we only do this when we have projected code, which is not common. So if I come to my code generation test now, how bad did I make it? This really shouldn't be any different, because this would be the same thing as if I'm giving you line by line all the codes from what I just projected. So what should be the difference? It's a little bit more memory intensive, not liking that, but oh boy. Oh wow, look at that. Oh, I know what the problem is now. Is we should be just saying here, leave the indent as is. Don't even mess with it. Okay? Because now you're actually going to be putting them in at that line, and it has the indentation that you want. All right, let's see what it looks like this time. That's still bizarre. Why does it have an extra line there? Like we say, do this one. And we do. And then we go back and we close off the namespace, which is what this is. But for some reason, there's an extra space coming through. Or not space, an extra line. And unless I do split, that gives you an array. I could just say, if the, like, if you're in the last one, just don't print that out. Don't yield it. Can we say, make it a 4? Convert to 4. Why? Except we don't want that. We want that. And then lines. Lines. And then we can say here, if I is less than lines at length minus 1, then actually yield the line. One more time. If this doesn't work, then I don't know what to do, because I might just have to live with that stupid space there. Line, not space, line. And that's another thing I'm also saying. I keep saying raw string literals are going to help, and they will. And I think that's one of the things I need to weigh here, is just how much is this worth trying to fix, because I fixed it. Okay, I'm good with that. Okay, I got to actually stop because we're having some people come over to, like I said, look at the windows, and they're going to be here real soon now. So I'm going to commit this. 160. Only write projected code if needed. There. Okay, so now, not ideal, not desirable, but yeah. But I'm going to now go through all the tests, shut down startup again, run all the tests, and then see how many things still need to be fixed, and then change those, because hopefully now we don't even run into this for things that don't need it. So then I will move on to other things I still need to fix. So thank you all for watching. Leave comments and questions below. See you in the next episode.